Hi everyone, I am here with a quick review from our first viola lesson. I hope this video will give you the reminder that you need so that you can practice this week and be ready to go next week to learn some new things. So we'll start with the basics of holding our viola that we talked about in our lesson. We talked about how the back part of your viola should end up on your shoulder and how this part right here called the chin rest, even though it sounds like our chin should end up on it, it's more of our side of our face, our jaw, that will end up on it. And so we put our viola in our left hand and we held it up like the Statue of Liberty and flipped it over and put it on our shoulder. Now you don't want it pointing all the way out like this. You also don't want it pointing forward like this. There's a bit of an angle that you have to find. It's a little bit different for everybody, but I like to start with a nice 45-degree angle, and for me, that's very comfortable. Now you'll notice that there's a lot of space right now between my face and this chin rest. And so we talked about how there's two different ways that you can turn and move your head. You can go left and right, like when you shake your head no, and you can go up and down, like when you shake your head yes. And so when that viola is on your shoulder, you're going to do a tiny no and a tiny yes. And that's going to get you in the position that you need to hold the instrument. What you don't want to do is just turn your head sideways. That's not, first of all, not going to be comfortable, but it also isn't safe to play like that. You could have some injuries down the road if you hold your instrument like that. So one more time, we have our Statue of Liberty. Flip it onto the shoulder, okay? Little no and a little yes. And that's how we want to be holding our instrument. Now, we aren't going to be using the bow for the first few weeks, and I've asked students to keep the bow in the case and not touch it until we learn how to use it. Normally, around lesson 4 or 5, we'll start playing with the bow. But what we can do is use our right hand to do something called pizzicato. So we've made an L with our right hand, and your thumb is going to go against this black piece right here. That's called the fingerboard, and your index finger is the one that's going to do the plucking. So you can go through and pluck all 4 strings. Now on a viola, the string names are A, D, G, and C. And if you wanted to go the other way, C, G, D, and A. So I've asked that students memorize the names of these strings. It's really important that you know them. Let me tell you one more time. A, D, G, and C. And the other way, C, G, D, and A. Okay, so let's move on to looking at our lesson book homework. All right, here we are looking at our lesson book. As you can see, we're going to start with number 1, the D and A march. Our homework for this week, by the way, was page 4, numbers 1 through 4. So just 4 exercises that all deal with the same 2 notes, D and A. Those are both open string notes. As we learned earlier, D is this string right here, not the highest one, but the one right next to it. And its neighbor is the highest string, A. Okay, so looking at our music here, our first note is on the 1, 2, 3, the third space. That is the note D, that open D string note. And they're having us play 1, 2, 3, 4 of those Ds. If we move it up here to this note, which is sitting on top of the staff, that one is A, so that's our open A string. So those are the 2 notes we're dealing with. We also have this symbol right here, which is called a rest. And in music, rest means don't play. So when you get there, we're just not going to play a note. So let's go through number 1, and I've asked students that before they play it, they need to say it. And that means that you're going to go through and say all of the note names. That's going to show that you know what you're doing before you start playing. So let's go through together right now and say the notes for number 1. Here we go. D, 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 A, 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 D, D, A, A, D, 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 rest. A, 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 D, 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 A, 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 D, 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 rest. Awesome. And now we're going to go through and play it. So we get our instrument up, our pizzicato ready, finger on the D string, and here we go. D, 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 A, 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 D, D, A, A, D, 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 rest. A, 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 D, 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 A, 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 D, 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 rest. Awesome. All right. right, moving down to number 2. As you can see, it's all the same notes. They're just in a different order. So right now, if you're following along and practicing with me, pause the video and go through and say all of the notes, and then we'll play it together. All right, we're back. Let's play it. We get our instrument up, get our pizzicato ready, and here we go with number 2. D, D, rest, rest. A, rest, rest. A, A, D, 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 rest. A, rest, rest. D, D, rest, rest. D, D, A, D, D, rest. Very nice. All right. So I'm going to leave number 3 and 4 for you to do on your own. Again, it's all the same sort of thing. One quick little thing here on number 4. This symbol is called a whole rest. When you see that, it just means to count 4 beats of rest. So that's all of that means. You're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and don't play for those beats. And other than that, I would ask that students practice these at least 4 times this week. If you do it 4 times and play through all of them, then you probably will be ready to go to learn new things next time. So thank you for watching, and